If the President's State of the Union address tonight is a 5-course meal, think of this as happy hour. Grab a drink. Investor Beat starts now. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Hill. All lights were green on Wall Street. The Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 all up, in part because emerging markets remained calm. Let's see if we can all agree to do this again tomorrow, if only because the Fed will conclude its 2-day meeting. It is the last get-together with Chairman Ben Bernanke. Joining me in studio today, Jason Moser. Good to see you, my friend.
How are you?
All right, our top story. In its most recent quarter, Apple sold 26 million iPads and 51 million iPhones. But Wall Street was looking for more. Shares down today. And Jason, we were talking earlier today, this is starting to strike me as Microsoft circa 2004, where the company is still very big, still very profitable, and the stock really isn't responding the way shareholders are hoping.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I think that's a very apt comparison at this point in Apple's lifetime. So much happened so fast with Apple. I mean, the iPhone has just taken the world by storm. It's hard to really remember, but I mean, it was just 2007 when the iPhone really just first hit stores. But they've made a lot of progress in a little amount of time. Then the iPad obviously sort of added to the dynamic of the business model as well. But now they are kind of stuck in this what's next situation. And you can see sort of this, as time goes on, these average sales prices for iPads continue to come down as they introduce smaller devices at lower price points. For the most part, phones are witnessing that same thing, with the exception of this one little tick up here this past quarter, because that upgrade to the 5S was so significant. It's a great phone. But for all of the success they've had with the 5S, the 5C was a real flop. I mean, they messed that one up. I mean, looking to put a phone out there to hit a lower price point. I mean, I thought it was a nice phone, but by the same token, it just didn't seem to really be cheap enough to warrant going 5C over 5S. So I think they need to figure that out, really, what they want to be for the long haul. And then bottom line is they are going to need to come out with something new. Tim Cook said 2014 is the year, but man, lip service is not going to cut it. We want to see something, and it's got to be good.
I was going to say, Cook said that it's going to be out by the end of the year, but there's no indication what we're even talking about here. It could be a smartwatch, it could be some form of wearable technology, it could be a TV, but it seems like more so than ever before, whatever it is, it's got to be a hit.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, the TV situation, I think it's not going to be a big TV you hang on your wall, because that's just not too many people are really going to be able to afford that at this point in time. I think it's going to be a wearable. It's probably going to be something around the watch line of things. I think they got a little bit of a break there with Samsung wanting to push something out of the market so fast, because I just think that Samsung smartwatch is a total flop. It's just useless. It doesn't do anything my phone won't already do. And that's what they have to figure out with this wearable technology. It needs to be something that complements what we're already doing and makes my life easier. I don't doubt they can come up with it, but again, until they show us the money, you got to wonder. And I think that's why the stock price is reflecting that sort of uncertainty today.
Stock a little cheaper today than it was yesterday. What do you think of it at this price?
It is cheaper. I think that Apple is a great long-term holding, and I think this actually could represent an opportunity to pick up shares at a relatively decent price of a company that's going to be very relevant in our lives for the next 5 to 10 years. You can hold on to the stock for a while. They're going to buy back shares. They're going to pay a dividend. It's not going to be some triple or four-bagger, but it is going to be something that continues to, sort of grow with time. It'll give you a nice little dividend. You'll see some return on those buybacks. I could think of worse places to put your money.
All right, let's get to today's movers and shakers. Ford Motors' fourth quarter profit came in at just over $3 billion. Sales were up, profit margins looked strong, and yet shares falling kind of late in the day. What's going on there?
It's all about what have you done for me lately, right? And they're thinking about not today, but tomorrow. And, while it was a great year for Ford, there are a lot of things happened in 2013. They were able to double the dividend. They got that investment credit rating back up, investment grade credit rating back up. And, they are selling cars. I mean, they are making a good product. North American market continues to be robust. China did very well. I was impressed to see that in 2013, Ford's China sales were up over 50%, so that's great. There is a drag still in the European economy. There are some headwinds they're facing in South America, and for that reason, we're looking at 2014. It's going to be a relatively flat year for the company sales-wise. They are going to see some margin pressure with some higher costs, along with some more, just more competitive pricing, especially with your Teslas out there and GM's trying to get a piece of their market share as well. So I mean, the market's looking at 2014 and saying, well, Ford's not going to really do a whole heck of a lot. It's a good stock to own if you own shares today, hold them. But yeah, I don't know that there's any kind of catalyst that makes me want to go out and buy shares today.
Cliffs Natural Resources up after hedge fund Casablanca Capital took a 5% stake and called for Cliffs to spin off its international assets to create value for shareholders. This is the worst performing stock last year in the S&P 500, so part of me thinks, hey, why not listen to new management?
It can only get better, right? Well, I mean, that's, the thing about Cliffs is, so I think it's about 15% of their sales come from North American coal. Now, coal has just not really got the best name today, in at least, on this side of the world. It is a bigger resource on the other side of the world. China and India certainly depend on coal a little bit more these days to build out their infrastructures and energy needs. But also when you look at Cliffs, they get about 35% of their sales from the United States, the other 65% from the rest of the world, and a lot of that is iron ore. And so this, I think, is really a play to try to take advantage of the emerging economies, of the separate the North American and U.S. side, kind of get that coal part over here, but also let's take advantage of the emerging economies and the growth opportunities that are over there. And so when you have a big interest like that, it's not surprising to see, and who knows how it'll shake out, but that strikes me as why they're doing it.
And finally, Corning's fourth quarter profits came in higher than expected, but shares down after the company warned that LCD glass prices would decline in the current quarter. You never like to see margins going lower.
No, and that's the thing, is they make so much of their money from those TV screens. Their display technologies segment, which is like 90% of profit, and that's what those TV screens are. And as these TVs, what we've seen over the past 5-10 years, these things just continue to get more and more commoditized. Best Buy and Amazon, you're buying these things for rock bottom prices, and it's not like you're replacing your TV every year either. So they're seeing a big pinch on that side of it. And then they do make a good amount of money from Gorilla Glass, which is what we see on a lot of phones and tablets these days, but Gorilla Glass volumes are even down 10% for the quarter. And so with those two dynamics together, I mean, Corning's a great company. They do a lot of what we see every day, but I don't know that it represents the most compelling investment opportunity.
Great brand name, though, Gorilla Glass.
No question.
Nothing better
Hands
than
down,
that.
one of the best out there.
That's going to do it for today's action. Give me a stock I can put on my watch list.
Well, I mean, Facebook's earnings come out tomorrow, and that's always a big one to watch. I mean, this is just a really neat space to watch, and we've seen sort of the past decade or so of the social media movement and growing this user base. And really the next decade for Facebook is going to be about engagement, figuring out ways to keep the eyeballs on the site, because the advertisers go where the eyeballs are, and that's how Facebook makes its money. So we'll be paying attention tomorrow to obviously just top line sales, understanding how mobile is playing a part in that. And I expect we'll see some improving mobile numbers as well. And then I'll be interested to see what other sort of things they have in the hopper in order to drive engagement over the longer haul. It's an exciting company to follow, no doubt.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on it. For Jason Moser, I'm Chris Hill. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.